Hello students, welcome back again. In the last class, we talked about the reflection and refraction as well as absorption of light. We learned that light can undergo many phenomena, and we also learnt about how is the image which is formed by the plane mirror. What are the characteristics of image which is formed by the plane mirror? Let us also talk about two important terms which you will be coming across many times during this chapter. Those terms are virtual image as well as real image. Now, virtual, as the name suggests, it is a false image. Basically means that it is not a real image, but it is a false image. So now the difference between the virtual as well as the real image can be understood by taking a very simple example. Let's say I take a box here, so this is my object which I'm trying to capture. I have to keep this object in front of something which is able to catch hold of all the images that are coming from the object. So let us first learn what are the light rays which are coming out of this object. The two light rays which are coming out of the object are this and this. There may be thousands and thousands of light rays which are coming from the object, but we are not interested in those thousands light rays because we cannot study all of them. So we will only consider two light rays that are coming out from the object. Let's consider only two light rays. Now, if we can place an object in front of this box in such a way that this object which is right in the center is able to capture all the light rays that are coming out of the box. So these two light rays will be captured by this object which is in the center. When it captures, we will be getting an exact image of the object that we were observing. These kinds of images, when we are able to capture the actual object, when we are able to capture the light rays which are coming out of the object, that image is called as a real image, because in this case we are capturing the actual image, the actual light rays. On the other hand, suppose the same object is now placed here, but somehow we are not able to capture the actual light rays that are coming out of the box. Why so? Let's say these are the two rays which are coming out of the box, are not able to move or go across to the other side because it is a painted side. So what will happen? These light rays will get reflected in this direction. The second light ray will also get reflected in this direction, and they won't be reaching on to the other side. So this is where we are actually observing. These are the eyes and we are actually observing from this direction. So if you see towards our eyes, do you feel that these rays are anyway going to meet? No, because they are diverging. They are not converging towards our eyes, but they are diverging. But suppose if we extend these light rays on the other side like this, we will see that the light ray appears to meet on the other side. Actually, these light rays are not meeting, but if we extend these two light rays, we feel that the two light rays must be coming from a particular source. And that's why they appear to meet here. So the point where they appear to meet is the image of the object. In this case, these are called as the virtual image. Why do we say appear to meet? Because let's say we take an example of a ball, let's say. So this is the ball. Okay. Now, when we observe the ball, what do we feel? We feel that there are two light rays which are actually coming out towards our eyes. So when these two light rays, when they come close to our eye, these will appear to be diverging. But close to the ball, they appear to be converging. Means any two light rays which we feel that they are diverging must be coming from some single source. So that's why if you apply the same rule here also, look at this, our eyes here. Our eyes see that there are some two light rays which are coming towards me, and these two light rays, as they come towards the eye, they seems to be diverging, which means that they must be coming from some object here, and from that object only these two light rays must be diverging. So we say that the light ray appear to meet at a particular point, which is called the virtual image. When we are able to capture the actual light rays from any object, it is called the real image. However, when we are not able to capture the light rays from an object, but they appear to meet at a certain point, that type of image is known as a virtual image. So I hope it would have made you clear about what is a real image and what is a virtual image. One more thing is that real images can be captured, virtual images cannot be captured. For example, the cinema hall, the screen that you see over there, that is a real image it is capturing. However, any image which is formed because of the plane mirror are virtual images because you cannot capture them, you can only see them. Okay, now that we know about virtual and real image and what type of image is formed by a plane mirror, let us now move on from plane mirrors to spherical mirrors. As the name suggests, spherical mirrors must be some curved mirrors. Some mirrors which have got curved surfaces are known as spherical mirrors. So, what type of curved surfaces have you seen at your places? Like spoon. Now, if you take a spoon and you try to see your face, you will be able to do that. If you take the spoon, there are two surfaces. One is a curved surface, which is like this, the curved surface here which is shown. And the other one is the outer surface, that is the back side of the spoon. So both the types of surfaces are known as curved surfaces, right? So those mirrors whose reflecting surface are spherical in nature, are curved in nature, are known as spherical mirrors. The spherical mirrors can be of two types, concave and convex. I'm sure about some introduction about concave and convex you must have studied in your previous classes. However, let me just tell you how are these spherical mirrors constructed. So now first, let me tell you how do we make these spherical mirrors. Now just consider a sphere which is made up of complete glass, it's a solid spherical glass. Now let's say when I paint the outer surface, it will become non-reflective, means this will not be a reflecting side. Now let's say I cut this small portion from here. Now what I'll be getting is, I'll be getting a shape something like this. On the outer side, this surface will be a painted surface. However, the inner surface will be a polished one. Polished surface means it is also called as reflective surface, means this is the surface which is going to be a reflective surface. It can reflect light rays. Now let me tell you how do we make a convex mirror. In case of convex mirror, when I cut this small portion from this solid sphere, what I do is I paint the curved surface, whereas we polish the bulged surface. So in turn, this inner curved surface will become a painted surface, which means this will not be reflecting any light, whereas the polished surface will be a reflecting surface. This kind of spherical mirror are known as convex mirrors. Now that we know what is a concave mirror and how the concave mirror is made, let us also learn various parts of the concave mirror. Now this is a concave mirror. So the first part of the concave mirror is a pole which is designated by the alphabet P. Here, this is the pole of the mirror. What is the pole? Pole is the center of the mirror. Here what you see is focus, which is designated as F. Okay, the line that you see here, this line, which is this horizontal line, is also called as the principal axis. It is an imaginary line, not an actual line. And this imaginary line passes through the center of curvature, the focus. It also passes through the pole of the mirror. So how many parts have we learned? We have learned that for a convex mirror, there is a pole. Pole is the center of the mirror. What is center of curvature? Center of curvature is the geometric center of the entire sphere out of which we have made this mirror. What is this focus? Focus is basically the point which is midway between pole and the center of curvature. Now, this length from C to P is called as the radius of curvature. Because this C is the center of curvature, that's why the distance from C and P is also known as the radius of curvature. Now, the point F that we see here, this distance from F to P is called as the focal length of a concave mirror. The focal length of the concave mirror. So focal length is always half of the radius of curvature. We can actually write focal length is equal to R upon 2, which is half of the radius of curvature. So are the parts of the concave mirror clear to you? Okay, now we come to convex mirrors. Again, how can you identify whether you are standing in front of a convex mirror or not? First, you have to place an object in front of the mirror and then ask yourself. First question what you will ask yourself is, am I standing in front of a reflecting surface? So yes, because as you see here, these red brushes that I have drawn here, this shows that it is a painted surface. So yes, you are standing in front of a reflecting surface. The second question is this reflecting surface bulging or it is like a cave? So this reflecting surface is a bulging surface which is bulging out. So that's why any spherical surface whose reflecting surface is a bulging side, bulging face is known as a convex mirrors, isn't it? Convex mirror will also have the same parts as that of the concave mirror. What are the parts? We have a pole which is a part of the mirror, the center of the mirror. We have the center of curvature. Center of curvature is the geometric center of the sphere out of which this mirror has been made. What is focus? Focus is actually a point which is midway between C and P, which is the pole, right? So this distance from P to the center of curvature is called as radius of curvature. This distance from the pole to focus is known as focal point. And this line that actually passes parallel all through the convex mirror, which crosses the focus, which also passes through the center of curvature as well as the pole, is known as the principal axis. So the parts of both convex mirror as well as the concave mirrors are the same. The only difference is in case of concave mirror, all the points like focus and the center of curvature were in front, but here as you see, the focus, the center of curvature is actually towards the painted side, because see, look at this. How was that sphere out of which this mirror was made? The sphere would have been something like this. So where should be the center of curvature? The center of curvature should be onto the right as you see here. Fine.